And take a deep breath out. So you got all the stress and all the tightness out of yourself. A couple of more deep breaths. I want you to forget about everything around you. Just focus on your breath. Feel the air filling up your lungs. Feel the air leaving your nose. Feel the air going through your entire body. I want you to be completely present with your breath, with your body, and with yourself. Whenever you are ready, take a couple of more breaths. If you're completely relaxed, go ahead and open your eyes. Rub your arms. You're all set. I need this, and I think everybody needs this before you start something to be ready. We're always running around stuff. So yes, like Mridula introduced me, yes, I'm an electrical engineer. I came to the United States with all my dreams and material possessions, and wanted to hoard a lot of luxury and live a happy life, right? That's all we think. And then in the meantime, you go through that hoarding and all that material possessions, you end up in a crossroad where you are losing your health, and you start to rethink, and what are you doing? You're not happy, even though you have the best house, you have the best car, you have the best job, and you have everything, but you're not able to sleep at night. You're not happy inside your heart. And so I had to come to a crossroad where I need to just pause and say, okay, stop, let me take a step back and think what's going on. What am I doing with my life? What's the purpose of me being here? Is my purpose is to get up every day, go for this corporate job, have a big bank account, and not be able to sleep with no pain, with no migraines, and no happiness, and just be stressful, having no time for my kids? And what am I losing here? And that's when I had to take a break and think. And I would say I realized I am losing a lot of my life and time running behind something that's not very important. I'm not saying you don't need that. You need all that to survive and be in this world, but that's not the most important thing. So I made a gradual shift. Okay, what can I do that brings a balance into both? And like you can already see, I love talking, and talking just by myself without anybody asking questions. It's even more better, because that's a job of a teacher, right? So you're the queen of the classroom. You're just talking, and you have all these faces just looking at you and not challenging you. And so I love that. And I love kids. I love the craziness. I love their truth, and I love their love and innocence. If they hate you, they truly hate you. And if they love you, they truly hate you. So you get the truth from them. And that's an amazing experience. And also you get a feeling of giving back to the community. And as I was doing my teaching for a couple of years, I think my soul was still not fed well. And there was more craving of what is still my purpose in life. Is this the purpose of life? And I was looking for, how do I quench that thirst? And more than me saying that I found Ayurveda, I would say Ayurveda came and found me. I don't even know how I got into it, but I just got into it, went with the flow. And I am now an Ayurvedic practitioner. I graduated as an Ayurvedic health counselor. now practicing my clinical medicine, and I want to become an Ayurvedic doctor. So that's all me here in a short form. So this is a small introduction of Ayurveda where I would like to educate you on a little bit of are the main causes of diseases. How do I understand myself? How do I know what to do for myself? So this is a small introduction on this. And Ayurveda cannot be just taught in 1 hour. And I'm not trying to promote any products, nothing here. It's just an effort to educate you and bring some awareness. So if you can have a pencil or paper or anything you want to take notes, it's coming up. So you can always have something to know more about you, or you can go and read more about those stuff that I'm talking about, and you can get more information. And this program or this information was put together. The pictures and everything I did put together, but the content of this presentation was majorly put together by Dr. Mark Halpin from the California College of Ayurveda, because their goal and our goal as a community is to spread and educate as many people we can. Just like Pratibha says, to educate means to empower people with health and goodness that they can achieve by themselves. Moving on. Okay, so what is Ayurveda, right? We all think Ayurveda is something ancient. Yes, that's true. It is ancient. It has been in existence for more than 5,000, 10,000 years. It was brought down by rishis and from their meditation and their penance, and it was given to mankind to live a happy life. And it is, I was amazed myself when I started learning of Ayurveda, because Ayurveda is not just herbs, it's not just oil massage, not just, going for a retreat, and not just a body spa, like how we think. It is more, it's knowing yourself. It lets you know who you are, what you're made up of, and how can you understand what is going wrong with your body, how do you listen to yourself, and how do you take action to it. So it's way beyond what we have, or at least what I thought about Ayurveda in the past. And when Ayurveda was created, or a long time ago when it was brought, Ayurveda was not coming into the world by itself. It had a twin sister. The twin sister of Ayurveda is yoga. Everybody knows yoga, right? Yoga was brought into the Western world and everybody practiced yoga, but everybody forgot the twin sister. They left her behind back home and they never brought her with yoga. And that's why when you're practicing a yoga, and many of us don't get the 100% benefits of yoga, in reality, the meaning of yoga is the union of yourself, the body, mind, and the spirit, right? To have a healthy body, mind, and spirit, you need Ayurveda to have it healthy. Only when you have a healthy body and mind, your practice of yoga is going to create that union. It's going to create that health. It's going to create that happiness and bliss that you're looking for. So Ayurveda goes in hand with yoga. So if you are practicing yoga for years, and many Western practices of yoga only promote yoga as a body function, as how you look and how you are flexible, how much balance you have. And they forget to explain that you are trying to do all this yoga to be in union with yourself, to be in harmony with yourself. And how to get to that harmony, you need to know about Ayurveda. So I'm not trying to say that Ayurveda is better than yoga, but Ayurveda and yoga are coexisting. They are twin sisters that was given to mankind together. But somewhere along the line, Ayurveda lost its path. But now there's so many people like Pratibha and this alliance who's bringing all this holistic education, bringing all these practitioners together and trying to educate the community. So one more time, Ayurveda is a complete healing of your body, your mind, and the spirit or the soul. So let's start talking about what are the causes of disease. So when you go to the doctor, they say, oh, you ate the wrong thing, you didn't do this, you didn't do that, and everything is wrong because of you. You are the one wrong, and that's why all these diseases. Nobody ever says, what is actually causing me to eat the wrong stuff? What is actually causing me to have diabetes? What is this doing to my body? And if you see, there has never been a medication. They give you medication for diabetes, but there's never a cure for diabetes because nobody understands the root cause, or the people ourselves. We don't understand what is making that diabetes. We are always giving medicines for the symptoms of diabetes, right? So we want to see our blood work look good. So we stop sugar, we stop carbs, we stop this, but are we actually going to the root of the problem? I don't think so. So Ayurveda starts from the root, just like how nature does. Everything starts from the root and then it becomes the plant. Ayurveda taps down to the root. And it says, okay, here we have the three causes of disease. When humans misuse their senses, that's number one cause, that's leading your disease. That's the start of your diseases. Then if you fail your intellect, I'm going to go in detail. So you don't have to understand, okay, what's intellect? So failure of intellect and time and motion. Has anybody said that time is a cause of disease? No, we've never heard that, because time is, the way we use time, the way we use our life is a cause of disease. So these are the main three causes of disease according to Ayurveda. So let's see what the misuse of senses are. We all know, we've all studied in school, like we have five senses: our eyes, ears, nose, and mouth, and our touch, right? But we always think it's all about eating, right? Diabetes, it's what you eat, you're wrong. Cholesterol, what you eat, that's wrong. Whatever, thyroid, what you eat is wrong. What you drink, anything is about your food. Nothing is talked about the other senses. Have you ever thought like, you buy the wrong perfume, right? Or somebody has a very strong perfume that can trigger headaches for people. So yes, of course, you are getting that smell, the wrong smell that your body cannot take. That is going to be a cause of disease. If you're living next to a factory that's having so much chemical waste and there's the smell and smoke and everything in the air, that is a cause of disease for us. So anything that goes through our nose is very important. If there's a junk smell, junk air, if the air is not clear, air is not pure, we are going to develop diseases. We're going to have respiratory diseases. We end up with bronchitis, asthma, and so many other things. We call it allergies, right? We don't realize the air and stuff that are around us. There could be a tree, there could be something that is creating that or triggering that asthma for us. And then we have the sound. Have you ever seen, like, we go for a rock band music and then we sit there for the entire night. Next day we wake up with a headache, because that hitting sound is not something our body likes or wants. So then that kind of a sound, or somebody in our household, if somebody's constantly yelling at you, and conversations, if there is a family, there's always argument going on in the conversation, and the parents, mom and dad, are always arguing. Do you think the kids are going to have a healthy mind and healthy emotional state? No, they're not going to have good health because of that. They are going to have panic attacks, they're going to have anxiety, they're going to end up with depression, just because of the sound of the argument. And as a physics teacher, I know once we create or make a sound wave, that wave doesn't never die. It diminishes by amplitude, but that sound always exists around us in our environment. So it's constantly around us. So we've already created that argument and created that living conditions around us. So that's a sound that's affecting your health, affecting somebody's health in that household. And you see the wrong things. If you're continuously watching the news and they're talking about people getting killed and raped and dying and kids getting molested, and you watch all these movies, the horror movies every day, I don't think you're going to go back to bed and sleep peaceful. There are going to be thoughts created around it. You're not going to have that 100% of rest that you want. And that is creating the stress in our head. We're thinking, okay, what happens if my child goes there? What happens this goes here? Or we need to be careful about it. And when the media just blows up everything. So we need to be careful, not just on what we eat, but we need to be careful on what we smell, what we hear, what we see, and touch, of course. We need a nice warm hug, right? When our kids come and cry, and when the mom or dad give them a hug, they feel so nice. They feel that healing. There are kids who do not get the hug. They grow up in foster homes. They are in centers where they don't have anybody to hug them or give them a pat on their back, or teacher who gives them a high five. And those emotions all make them or turn them into a different being. They don't get the happiness that other kids are enjoying. So touch is a very important thing. Even as in a relationship, if a husband, the touch from the other best half is very important. And the people who don't get it are missing a big part of things in life. So how can we be healthy when all these things are not getting the best from the world or environment around us? So the next thing I was talking about is the failure of the intellect. This we do all the time. I'm giving an example that I go through. I come after a Friday evening from school. I'm totally exhausted. I'm gonna think, okay, today I'm not gonna do anything. Just go sit on the couch, have a nice cup of coffee, just relax, listen to good music. I've made up all my mind. I'm so excited because I know my body told me I'm tired and I need that rest. And then after some time, I get a phone call from my friend, and my friends are okay. Hey, we're gonna meet up. Let's go for this party. We're gonna meet up at 9 p.m. We're gonna go for a movie, and we're gonna go for dinner. And there I'm like, my intellect says, oh no, I don't want to go. But at the same time, you don't want to miss it because you're thinking, okay, if I don't go this time because I said no last time, and then they're not going to keep me in the group, there's this peer pressure, or we just don't express ourselves, right? And then we fail our intellect. Our brain tells us, no, don't go. You need rest. Don't go. And then we still do what we still don't want to do. We end up going, we come back, we eat all that popcorn at late at night at 12 p.m. and then we come sleep. And then when we wake up next day, you're getting a headache, you end up with migraines, you have a long, tired day next day. So that's an example for the failure of the intellect. Many of us can more relate with food, right? We have a salad in front of us. We want to take the pizza, and somewhere inside the monkey brain says, hey, go to the pizza. And then there's this nice, good God brain telling you, the intellect telling you, no, that's not good for you. Choose the salad. And then we somehow fail our intellect and make bad choices. So whatever consequence of that bad choice is your disease, according to Ayurveda. So you go out of your harmony, you are not making good choices that will open the door for disease. Next interesting, very, very interesting cause for disease for today's world is our time and motion in the mind. We always know time, right? Time is very important. We are paid by the time. And that is the linear time, right? We have 24 hours in a day. We have 7 days a week. We have 365 days in a year. And we have no control over it. We can't control how the earth revolves. We cannot control how the earth rotates, nothing. That's a linear time. That's what we got. And what we try to do, or what we have told the whole time, even me especially, is to be efficient, make the best use of time, do as many things as you can do, multitask as much as you can. And we've been trained, the more you multitask, you're the best, man. You're so efficient. You got paid for so much of work that you did in less time. That's amazing. But what happens is that's taking a big toll in the biological time of their body. Our body has a biological time. We have the circadian rhythms with ourselves. And the more try to be with the linear time, exponentially you're losing your biological time. So I can give you an example. I can give you all examples just from my life experience. Very simple. In the morning when you drive to school, right? I need to drop my kids. So I won't make time for breakfast. I don't have time. So efficient, I have 20 minutes to drop my kids to school. So then I take my oatmeal, my coffee into the car, and then I put on those Bluetooth speakers. So now I'm just driving, right? And then I'm also coordinating with my kids. Did you take your lunch bags? Do you have your shoes? Do you have everything? Did you finish your homework? And I'm just hogging my breakfast. I'm drinking my coffee. And at the same time, because of the help of technology, I can use the Bluetooth and I can turn on a phone call. I can call my mom. So in 20 minutes, I finished the entire 20 minutes. I made a call to my mom. I talked to her. I drove my kids to school. I finished my breakfast, my coffee. Man, I'm super efficient. I did everything. I saved so much time. If I had done them serially, like if I did just driving for 20 minutes and talk to my mom for 20 minutes, then have my breakfast for 20 minutes, that's an hour of time. Who has that time, right? But none did I know that saving 20 minutes of linear time has taken away 60 minutes of my biological time. Because if there are any psychology major people, you know, the brain can only do one task at a time, no matter what. Western science has proved brain can efficiently do at any instant of time only one job. We don't realize it because it does it very fast. And the more things we want to do, then your brain is working at its triple speed, right? We take care of our cars, we take care of any material possession in our house, we make sure that those things don't have a wear and tear, but we never think, is our brain having a wear and tear? Are the cells in our body having a wear and tear because of our efficiency and multitasking? Yes, absolutely. Exponentially, you are having a huge wear and tear in your body. Your cells are all degrading. You started the degrading process. You didn't give the time for the body to heal. If you do one job at a time, then it has the time to do the job for you, spend the energy, and re-heal, because the body has a healer in it. It can fix stuff, but we don't give it the time and opportunity to fix anything. We move our thoughts so fast. Sometimes we cannot sleep at night because there's thoughts going so fast. And we are, along with those thoughts, our cells are working so hard, and our biological time, we're spinning it very fast, and we are losing our biological time. We're aging faster. In those days in scriptures, I've read that people could live for 1,000, 10,000 years because they knew how to master their biological time. I'm not saying we want to live 1,000, 10,000 years, but it is proven that you could manage your biological time and have a better quality of whatever life or lifetime we have, instead of going through all this stress. So Ayurveda says, just slow your mind, just slow the time. You can slow the time. You're going to think how? You're slowing your biological time, and you have the ability to slow the aging process and slowing the degradation of your cells. So putting all this together, right? All these three causes, misusing of senses and your intellect failing and your time and motion, putting them together, even bottom, what happening is, in Ayurveda says, we have forgotten who we are. That is the primordial cause of all diseases. We just totally forgot who we are, why we are here. It's like you've given a character in a play and you're going to the steps and you totally forgot who you are and you became Shakespeare. And every day you're living as a Shakespeare. And you forgot, oh man, you just had a drama, you had to play. Your character is to be Shakespeare. You are not Shakespeare. So that's exactly what we are. We are here, our soul is here as a spirit, and we get caught up in the drama of our life that we create for ourselves, right? One of our teachers said, we are always solving the problems that we create, our dramas we create, and then all this chatter that's going in our head. We wanted a job, we wanted this high, want to become the manager of some team, and then we end up saying, oh my God, they're telling me to do this, do that, this, that, and we complain about all that and the stress that is creating. But at the first place, we chose that, and we are the ones who made the choice, and we are the ones creating everything for ourselves. We fail our intellect, and then we end up misusing our senses because you're working all night, so you start drinking all that, the caffeine, the Red Bull, and everything to keep you awake. All those things are going to be the cause of disease. So if you go a step back and think, okay, everything here is my choice, is my consequence. If you think about it, you can always make best choices, a better choice. You can always bring a balance to what you want to do in life. So it's always very important to understand what you are, what you need. Like I said, we talk about soul food. Find out, what does your soul actually need? Like, what makes you happy? Does this life that you're living, if it's actually making you happy, then you're fine, keep going. But is it actually really, really making you happy? That's what you need to make the time to stop and think what your body's telling. We never listen to our body, right? We burp like 10 times. We don't even stop and think, why am I burping? We are like, we burp, okay, I'm going to drink, I'm going to put the antacid in my mouth and run, run, run. We don't stop and listen to the symptoms. We never listen to our body. So I want you to stop and listen to yourself to understand what is the cause of your disease. So for so long, I was telling you what is causing everything, what is this, what is that, but how do we get to perfect health? How do we get that? Ayurveda has a solution for everything. Seriously, it's in a very simple form and it has answers to everything. So when you talk about perfect health, it says master your senses. Okay. Oh my God, that's not very easy, right? But that, yes, you can, once you know yourself, once you're listening to yourself, you can master your senses. And you know what? When you give your machine, the body is like, I don't know, I think like more like an engineer, like a car, right? You have a Tesla car, you know, you have to charge it. Would you go to the gas station and pour gas into it? Like, will you fill gas? Do you think the Tesla is going to perform absolutely the way it is supposed to do with gas into it? No, it is not. The engine is not designed to perform with the gas. But we know that we take care of our Tesla, we make sure we take it to the right place to charge it. If you have a car, something else, you know the right oil that goes in there. We make sure the quality of oil that goes in here. We make sure we get the right quality of everything that a car needs, a home needs, an air conditioner needs, because we don't want the air conditioner to break during our Arizona summers. We want to make sure we take care of all that. But because even though those objects, they cannot heal by themselves, but our body is an amazing mission. If you just give them just 1/10 of what you are giving the right things to the other stuff or non-living objects, if you can give just 10% of that to yourself, the body will heal for you. It will show you what is the process of coming to harmony. What are the ways to control your senses? I've had clients who've had cravings, like they want to eat something every 2 hours and they keep saying, I'm sitting in the computer, I have cravings. And then we try to pacify and give a lifestyle. And then automatically they say, oh my God, I don't know, I didn't crave for anything today. So mastery of the senses is not like controlling. I'm not talking, Ayurveda does not want you to work too hard. It just wants you to understand and do the right thing for the body, and the body will do it for you. Body will master the senses by itself. It won't create those kind of cravings. Again, it's not like one medicine. You go to Western medicine, oh, I have diabetes. Okay, here's a medicine for it. You have anxiety. Okay, this is the medicine. Everybody for hypothyroid has only one medicine in the entire world. I've seen everybody, what is that? Levothyroxine or something. That's what everybody takes. And even though your numbers come out right for thyroid, even though everything happens, you don't feel right. You still feel tired. You still feel like you're gaining weight. You still feel like your face is bloated, because nothing is right for everyone. One thing is not right for everyone, and everything might be right for somebody. I've seen people, they can eat anything they want and they still not gain weight. But if I even think of food, I can gain like 10 pounds. You see what I'm saying? So each person has a unique body. And Ayurveda is a path where you're understanding what is right for you. That is what Ayurveda talks about. But how do I know what is right for me? So for that, you have to know what you are made up of. We always think nature, right? When we think of nature, we keep nature out of us. We're thinking, okay, we need to go for a retreat. We need to go and plant some trees for nature. Nature is going to a park, going for a hike, going to a mountain. But we forget our body is nature. We're made up of nature, by nature, for nature. We are nature ourselves. We forget that. We think we're something unique and special. We are just something else and nothing to do with nature. And we think we are taking care of nature. We plant 2 trees. We're so proud we're taking care of nature. But you forget you need to first take care of yourself. You are nature. You're made up of the forces of nature. So Ayurveda brings it down very simple. 3 things you need to know: Kapha, Pitta, and Vata. So in our way, we say it the other way. We say it Vata, Pitta, and Kapha. These are the 3 biological energies and forces that's governing the entire human body. If you are a biology major, you know that you talk about how the food goes in, it becomes chemicals, it breaks down everything. And then at the end, we say plus ATP energy, right? We say ATP energy. And your Western medicine or science stops right there, because Western medicine and science is all like a chemistry. It talks about matter, it talks about all the different chemicals and the reactions in your body. And then it says it gives you energy. But that's where Ayurveda actually even starts. It says, okay, your energy comes, but it comes in 3 different forms. So I would say our Western medicine is more like a chemistry doctor, and your Ayurvedic medicine is more like a physics doctor. So coincidingly, I'm a physics teacher, but it's not, I didn't plan to say that, but it defines more energy and force in our body that starts from all the food that we eat, all the things, all the environment around us. So these three energies are made up of the 5 elements of nature. So we are made up of space, air, fire, water, and earth. Vata is made up of space and air. I will tell you what each of this means. If you want to write it down, I don't, I'm just going slow. And Pitta is made up of fire and water. There's a lot of fire, a little bit of water to keep that fire in balance. And then earth and water, Kapha, is just a lot of earth and a lot of water. So these 5, I don't know if you guys want this, these 5 elements are called the Pancha Mahabhutas. They are the 5 great elements that make the entire universe. Anything you take in the universe is a permutation combination of these 5 things. We are a permutation combination of these 5 things. That is why if you are a math major, you know we have 5 things with a percentage of 0 to 100%. We're going with every decimal. You can imagine the millions and billions of permutation combination that can come out of us. That is why we are all unique beings. So each one of us are made up of different percentages of these great elements in our body. And each of our tissues and functions are different. We eat the same thing, we go do the same job, but then one person has a different thing going on in their life. Another person has a different health issue. We take the same medication and the side effect is so different for another person. And another person, it's nausea. For another person, it's a diarrhea. Why are these differences happening in each person? And why is we grow up in the same household, same mom and dad, we are siblings, and we are totally different personalities? Because the mind is also made up of these 5 great elements. We call the astral body is also made up of the qualities of these 5 great elements. So it's not like you open your body, you're going to find some mud and fire and water and air, you can filter it out. That's not what I'm talking about. We're talking about the qualities that come from these great elements. So I don't know, I thought I'll give a this avatar video was very relevant because I was watching this Avatar cartoon with my kids, and it talked so much about the 5 great elements. They have 4 great elements, and they talk how each one of us are made up of. And Avatar is the one who has mastered all the 4 elements, basically who knows how to control the forces of these elements. So it's just a quick video just explaining that.
Water, earth, fire, air. My grandmother used to tell me stories about the old days, a time of peace, when the Avatar kept balance between the Water Tribes, Earth Kingdom, Fire Nation, and Air Nomads. But that all changed when the Fire Nation attacked. Only the Avatar mastered all 4 elements. Only he could stop the ruthless firebenders. But when the world needed him most, he vanished. 100 years have passed, and the Fire Nation is nearing victory in the war. 2 years ago, my father and the men of my tribe journeyed to the Earth Kingdom to help fight against the Fire Nation, leaving me and my brother to look after our tribe. Some people believe that the Avatar was never reborn into the Air Nomads and that the cycle is broken. But I haven't lost hope. I still believe that somehow, the Avatar will return to save the world.
Sorry, I just had to stop. The intention of this video is that we always think we want an avatar to come and save us all and give that magic information and save us from all these things. But as you saw in that story, when there is a balance with all the elements, there's peace. And if one element decides to go out of, like the Fire Nation decides to wage war against the other elements, then there is disharmony. And somebody has to come who knows how to control all the elements to bring peace back. And that's exactly what goes on into your body. If one element or one energy decides to go out of imbalance because of the environmental or changes that we feed into ourselves, it is going to cause chaos and imbalance and disharmony. And you as a avatar, if you understand how to listen to it and you understand which element is causing that rage in you and causing the disharmony, you can bring balance and you can bring harmony into yourself. So you don't need an avatar coming from outside, a god or a healer from somewhere to tell you. As an Ayurvedic practitioner, it is important for us to educate our patients. We let them know what is exactly going on in their body. What are they actually made up of? How do I know what they are made up of? Because we look at the qualities of the elements. So if you are somebody who's always feeling very cold, you are dry, you have like very skinny, light body, your long bones, your bones are very brittle, your mind is very unstable, then we say, oh, you're made up of more of air and ether. And we are all made up of all the 5 elements, but of different percentages. So this person has a higher percentage of air and ether. And what went out of balance? We look for what is going out of balance. If that person's going to have burning indigestion, they get fevers, and they're very focused, they are very angry, then we know the fire is gone out of balance. And then how do I bring balance to it? I bring the opposite qualities, like I bring moisture into them, I bring coldness into them, I bring more heavy qualities into them using the water and earth. So knowing yourself, knowing what you are made up of, and understanding the qualities and giving just the opposite is going to bring balance. Very simple. That's all you need to know. So the vata, if you are cold, feeling light, dry, and mobile, we say you have more of vata in you. If you're very hot and very unstable but very focused, then we say you have more pitta in you. And if you're somebody who's always having the tendency of gaining weight, from young, like me, I was always a chubby baby. I wanted to look very skinny, but never, I was always chubby. But that's because I am more of a kapha person. That is my constitution. I cannot become somebody else. Forcing me to become somebody else because I always wanted to look skinny. I eat only salads. I tried to diet my whole life. I try to make sure all this, but then that is causing an imbalance in me, and that creates more emptiness and space and gives you anxiety and the migraines, the pain that comes from air into my nervous system. So we as Ayurvedic practitioners, just looking at the body type, we can say, sitting with me, my daughter now can look at somebody in the store and say, Mommy, they've got more vata in them. They've got more pitta in them. It is very easy to figure out. So if you are a person who has nice and long, oblong face, you have long, thin and slender hands and legs, you're tall, and you're skinny always. I'm not talking skinny by just starving, but skinny from birth, like you've always been thin and long, then you are a person who has a predominantly vata. But you have this, you're like a butterfly. Your thoughts are going fast, you're crazy, that's vata. And if you think of a pitta body type, they have this moderate muscular structure, they have more muscles, they don't have that flabby skin and fat. And you can even look at their face, they're very focused, and they're not very skinny, but they have that medium build, and they have a square face. Their face has an angular structure in their face. So they are more pitta people. And if you look at the kapha people, they're usually very round. They're very soft. And I wouldn't say they're obese. Please don't confuse obese and being chubby. The obesity is an imbalance of kapha. That is not a kapha in prakriti. So kapha as natural, they tend to be more round faced. They have large eyes. They have nice stocky build, and they are more nurturing. They're like Mother Earth. They are very, very happy and very devotional. And in Ayurveda, the best dosha to have would be kapha because they're more healthy, and vata is a very naughty dosha. That's the one that causes other things to go under balance. So like I was talking, if you're a pitta, you have a medium neck. And if you're a kapha, you have a very short neck. And if you're vata, you have a very long neck. So as a practitioner, we go through all these things. We ask you for your pictures, we look at your features, and if somebody wants to write it down, you can. If your eyes are small and thin, your nails are small and thin and brittle, your hair is very brittle, then we call it, they are more of vata, and they have very less pitta and kapha. But this is called prakruti. Sorry, before going into Prakriti, I want to finish the personality traits. So a Pitta person, if you are somebody who is very focused, you get a job, completion is very important to you, you have a list, you are task oriented, you finish it, you're focused, you know exactly what to do, you do the right thing every day, disciplined, like my husband. If I, very simple, I want to keep a lemon water in the morning, I don't take that task for myself because I have a vata imbalance. So I keep changing every day. My things go around somewhere else, like a butterfly. I'm jumping from one flower to the other. But no matter what, even the sky is falling down, you will get lemon water no matter what. So that's a pitta trait. Trust me. I've sometimes gotten mad with my husband for that, but that is pitta. But I understand him. He's so focused. He will get you the stuff that you need. And if you think of me in more like a butterfly, a vata, you see how I talk. I go between topics, and I want to give you a lot of stuff, and my brain's coming out with thoughts, and I'm not having that structure like a pitta person. And pitta person wouldn't like my talk because they like it very structured and disciplined. And I'm jumping all over the place, and that's vata. And that's okay. It's just because I have more vata in me. I'm like a butterfly. And in a classroom, I'm so happy with kids, and I don't have the craziness in my class. People think, oh my God, how do you sit with kids? It's fine. I'm totally fine because I'm also jumping around with them. So we need everybody. We don't want everybody to pitta people. Then we're all like we're living in an army, right? We don't want that. And we don't want everybody to be crazy like vata because, that's total chaos and craziness. But then we have kapha people who come in and they're fine. They bring the balance and they say, you know what, that's okay. The elephants, they're very calming. They're with the family. They're devotional. They're nurturing, and they're very nice to us. Unless you actually get into their nerves, they are not going to disturb anybody around you, and they're happy with whatever. It's raining, it's okay. If it's hot, it's okay. The AC is at 85 in my house. My son doesn't have a problem. It's at 69 in his school. He still doesn't have a problem because I can very clearly see that he has a lot of kapha personal trait, and nothing makes a lot of distance. It takes a lot for a kapha person to actually even go to a doctor. Like anything goes wrong with them, they're going to think it's okay, it's fine. Usually you do not see a lot of kapha imbalanced people coming to a doctor or going to a doctor and getting medication. It's usually the vata person who's anxiety, who's anxious and wants, okay, what's going on? I need to try this, I need to try that. And that's the vata that we want to calm down. So how do I know what is a sign of imbalance? When we talk about body types, those are not, we look at your prakruti. Prakruti means your original constitution. What are you actually made up of? Then we look at your imbalances. What is causing the discomfort in you? That is vikruti. So how do I see? I see, okay, somebody talks to me about gas and constipation. Then I know, oh my God, there's too much air in their digestive system. That same person will also be complaining about insomnia, and they will have dry skin, and they will lose weight, and they have anxiety disorders. Then I know, okay, vata is very predominant in their entire system. So vata is the one that's out of balance. There's too much air and space in their system. And somebody might not have any of this. They might have burning indigestion, they're having diarrhea, they're going 5 times to the bathroom every day, have acne outbursts, they're oily, they're angry, they feel hot all the time. Then I know, okay, pitta is gone out of balance. And for somebody who's kapha, they're going to say, I'm gained a lot of weight, I feel sleepy after eating, I feel very depressed, I'm lethargic, and they're like stuck in the mud kind of thing. There's too much water and earth, they're stuck in that mud. That's kapha person. So this is how, as Ayurvedic practitioners, we know what is the cause of their disease, what is causing the imbalance. So we, as Ayurvedic practitioners, give them the tools to support. We're going to first, as an Ayurvedic practitioner, I educate them, I explain what is going on with them, and we let them know this is what you need to focus on. And we give them everything that is needed to heal naturally, because once you give the body the healer inside your body, every cell has a healer in it, and that healer is ready. Once you give it the tools that it needs, it's going to grab the tools and fix everything for the body, right? Like just in a hospital, even if you have a doctor in the hospital, if the doctor doesn't have the right tools to do the surgery, how is he going to help the patient? He's not going to be able to help the patient. So that's exactly what it is. You have a healer in you. And as a practitioner, as an Ayurveda practitioner, I'm going to give you the tools, and you are going to provide the tools and the environment to your body, and you're going to heal yourself. The healer will do magic. It will do magic. Again, don't, Ayurveda cannot, if you lose an organ, like you've taken out an organ, can you regrow the organ? Ayurveda cannot heal outside the limits of nature. It is only, it's bound with the natural laws. If you have cut your arm, Ayurveda cannot help you regrow an arm, a finger, nothing. It can help you have more hair growth, because that is a natural thing. Hair growth happens as you lose hair, and it can help you with, you know, dry skin. Your skin can get a moist. It can help you with diabetes. It can help you with hypothyroidism. It can help with everything else that is binded within the limits of nature. So our goal, as your goal for healing, is number one, you need to understand what you're made up of. You need to stop and think what your body is looking like. What is your body feeling like? So you need to find your original constitution. And then you need to think, okay, before wedding or before marriage, before I started this job, I was fine. I was able to eat everything. I was able to do everything. But now I'm not able to sleep at night. Now I'm having headaches, or my blood pressure is going up high, and that is called imbalances. But blood pressure is going up high is what your doctor told you. What made you go to the doctor? That's what you're going to think. What was happening? Were you feeling dizzy? Were you feeling sleepy? Were you feeling tired? Those are the symptoms you need to think and understand the imbalances in your body. And then if you're sitting with a practitioner, you can just sit with yourself and think, okay, how do I bring balance back to myself? Like I said, to me, I thought, okay, that corporate job and my family is not working for me. So I stopped, I made a plan. Okay, school is good. I go with my kids. I'm doing the job that I like. And yes, I'm not getting the six-figure salary, but that's okay. I'm able to sleep every night. I've not had migraines in 5 years. That's an amazing, good feeling. And I am able to spend more quality time with my kids. So you find a balance. I'm not saying everybody has to quit their jobs and become a teacher. No, I'm asking you to sit down and look to see what is the cause of your imbalances and how you can make a plan to bring a balance. Somewhere you can bring a balance. You can talk as a family to bring a balance to yourself. So if you're coming to a practitioner, what we do is we give you lifestyle counseling, just like I'm talking. I'm going to talk to some people and say, can you do, you know, an oil massage at night? Can you do an oil massage maybe over the weekend? You know, try something, try this, try that, try with your lifestyle what you can do. And so we give a diet plan or food plan that will help you pacify the vata. So if you have too much dryness in you, I'm not going to ask you to go eat salads. I'm going to say stop salads, because salads are more dry and cold. You're going to go have more warm and moist food like oatmeal. Try oatmeal, which is warm and moist. Try khichdi, which is warm and moist. If there are too much air in you, I'm going to say, don't try any of the beans, because that's going to increase the air. There's so much heat and fire in you. You're burning indigestion. I'm going to say, take away everything that brings heat. Instead, we're going to bring more cold stuff into you. So we work on what is causing the imbalance, and we give herbs and spices are part of the disease management. It's not just herbs and spices. There are aromatherapy, like we are concentrating on every sense of our body. The sound therapy, color therapy, of course, yoga for the mind, because this is a complete body-mind tool, and then meditation. But if you're not ready as a body, yoga and meditation is not going to give its benefits. So we need to be ready at its physical form before we go into yoga and meditation to reap its maximum benefits. So the most important thing with Ayurveda is to know yourself. Once you know yourself, the world is yours. Like I said, if you knew my example a long time ago about the friend calling you at night to go for a party, you know yourself, you're going to wake up with a headache. You can always tell your friend, hey, can we plan this tomorrow afternoon? Can we go tomorrow afternoon? And maybe your friend will say yes, and maybe everybody will be okay with it. So you need to follow practices so you can have an optimum health. You should try it, not assume that you have to keep up with everybody else. You can always voice out and say, okay, guys, if I don't sleep well, I don't wake up well. So I don't need headaches. I don't want migraines. So I want to sleep at the right time. But who can bring this harmony to yourself? I cannot come and tell your friends. I cannot do everything for you. You have to make the change for yourself. You have to bring the harmony to yourself. But at the same time, with Ayurveda, it is not a magic pill. It is the repetition and the routine and the being consistent on what you're doing. Nature doesn't do anything overnight. I don't know if you've noticed that. Nature is very slow. You sow a seed today, tomorrow you're not going to eat the fruit out of that tree. It takes years for that seed to grow into a plant and then become a bigger plant and then a tree and then to bear fruits and then to be able to enjoy. So just like I said, we are nature and natural. So it is going to take time, but we have to consistently give it the water it needs, consistently give it the light it needs, consistently give it the ingredients and nutrition it needs for you to reap the benefits of the Ayurveda. So it's a gradual and a slow process, but definitely it's 100% or more than 100%. It has withstood the time and withstood everything, withstood all the globalization, industrial revolution. And it is still today, this is the answer to all of our diseases to be, to eradicate and to heal ourselves. I'm sorry, I think I was talking a lot for so long. So I just want to finish by this famous quote from the Dalai Lama. This is an amazing one because this was like as if my own life. So long time ago, somebody asked the Dalai Lama, what surprised him the most? And he said humanity himself. And everybody asked, what is so surprising about humanity? And he said, man, because he sacrifices his health in order to make money. And then he sacrifices all his money to recuperate his health. Then he's also so anxious about the future that he does not enjoy the present. The result, what happens, he does not live in the present or the future. He lives as if he's never going to die. That was me. I always thought I'm going to live forever. And then dies never having really lived, which I don't want to. That's why I had to make a change. I did not want to die like I've never really lived. So I just want to give a message, find yourself, know yourself, have yours today, enjoy the gift of today. And I would wish everybody your Arokya Saukya. So if you have any questions, I don't know if it's beyond my time or I don't know the track of time. So if anybody has any questions for me, I'm okay to answer. It's your time. So I'm this radio jockey who's done talking. Now you guys can talk back. I'm done. Thank you.
I'm back here, Preeti. Thank you so much. You can stop sharing if you like. And
Sure.
So I was in and out of the call, as I had already mentioned, but I did catch the avatar video that was really cute. And then the Dalai Lama's quote right now. So if everybody can just stay for one more minute, I started recording late, so I have to quickly, I started recording after all the WHA introduction and all that. So my bad. If you can just stay on for a minute, I'll just quickly do the Holistic Health Alliance intro again, just for the, because this video is going to be watched on YouTube. So just want to make sure. Are you all okay? You can stay, Preeti, and then we'll take a couple questions and comments quickly. So I just wanted to introduce Holistic Health Alliance, the organization on whose platform we have hosted Preeti today and the community talk today. So Holistic Health Alliance is a 501c3 nonprofit, national nonprofit. We have 2 chapters currently, one in Massachusetts, one in Colorado. And our tagline basically sums up our mission and vision, which is building healthy communities. So towards this vision, we have a directory where we host holistic practitioners, we invite them to come together on a unified single platform and different modalities, and we support them, we engage them, we bring them to the community. It benefits them, it benefits the community. And we have these monthly educational talks where we like to inform, educate, and empower the community as to what else is out there. So it is free and available to everyone and can be used for wellness if used properly. So there are many, many such tools. And we also have a youth brigade initiative. So please go to our website, which is actually in our chat box also. And I'm also putting a link to our YouTube channel in the chat box. Please feel free to, I'll share it because it's, I can share it right now. I had copied it, but it seems to have gone from the clipboard. But we have a YouTube channel, so please feel free to subscribe to that as well. And the website is www.holistichealthalliance.org. Our previous talk was Mridula Vitke, and her video has 58 views already. So I hope that people will continue watching and getting more and more equipped with more tools for wellness. And I teach, I'm a senior faculty at several institutions. So if any of you are interested in learning more Ayurveda, you can check out Boston Ayurveda School, Kerala Ayurveda Academy, or where Preeti has taken her certification, California School of Ayurveda. Yeah, thank you so much for a very informative and simplified version. As I like to say, Ayurveda is the user manual of life, basically. You pick it up, find out what is your model, and as Preeti was saying, use simple common sense way of living. That is Ayurveda. So thank you so much, Preeti, and open for any questions at this time, whether it's Holistic Health Alliance related or what Preeti has presented. Please go ahead. We can stay for a couple minutes. Any comments, any questions? Welcome. Mridula, you have any comments?
Yes, I actually love the way she puts physics and Ayurveda together to explain and simplify. And in case you guys don't know, I've been working with Preeti with my for my daughter's health as well. She's very patient. She knows how to deal with kids. Like my daughter wouldn't, I don't think she would listen to anybody, but she sits and listens to Preeti, which is pretty cool. So I am just getting introduced to Ayurveda myself through her. And I think it's a good program. And Preeti, just as an update, I haven't had a chance to let you know, but my daughter's stool test was just done recently, and her levels have come extremely down from the 2000s to like 400. 200 is my goal, but it's come down. So, I really appreciate you working with us.
Thank you. I was so happy. That's nice to know that.
I'm sorry, I've been so busy. I didn't have a chance to kind of get back with you, but that was in my checklist to let you know.
Thank you. That's okay. I'm just glad and happy. So that's nice. It made my day.
Yes.
Anybody else has any questions? Mridula, you want to say a couple lines about Holistic Health Alliance, your experience, maybe?
Sure. So, sure. So I've joined the non-organization. I mean, I've joined Pratibha it's been a couple of months. And I am extremely excited about this opportunity because it really aligns with our thoughts on educating people. This has also given us, Preeti and myself, to kind of connect, and we want to actually have more people engage with us. So I do have a few friends that I know that would add value to this program. So, please keep looking forward for their invites as they join the community and they kind of introduce themselves. We'll build a bigger community, which will give everybody an opportunity to kind of learn from each other. So this is really exciting. And, just stay with us, and, I keep looking out for invites from us.
Yeah, and all links have been shared in the chat, the email, the website, and the YouTube link. All talks go on YouTube, so even Preeti's talk will be available in case you missed in between. You can go and rewatch. That's the advantage of uploading videos on YouTube. You can watch and rewatch and look for particular information if that is what you are looking for. All right, I think yeah. Okay, so we're getting some comments in the chat box. Thank you, Yamini. Anybody else wants to say anything? Otherwise, we can wrap up.
Hey, Pradita, I had a question for you. So,
sorry, go ahead.
So in future, if we just want to get more knowledge and attend more of these sessions and get into holistic living, how do we reach out to you?
I have shared the email ID in the chat, and you can also reach out to Preeti or Mridula. They also have the Holistic Health Alliance email. You can also check out the YouTube channel. Again, it's in the chat box. And you can see so many other videos of Mridula had done a wonderful presentation on meditation. And we had another one on homeopathy, another one on breathing techniques. So there are many presentations. Our YouTube channel is fairly young, so please do check it out, like, subscribe, comment, first of all. But that's where you can start catching us. We are on Facebook, we are on Instagram, email us, and it's organic, it's expanding. So you can look me up, Pratibha Shah, by my name. I'm on LinkedIn, Facebook, and all other platforms if you want to reach out to find out more about Ayurveda and learning Ayurveda, or Preeti can also add some information. So yeah, I hope that helps, Aarti.
Yep, I've just found the YouTube link, and thank you, I appreciate it.
Thank you.
And Preeti's presentation was awesome.
Yes.
Thank you, Preeti. Yep, thank you, Mridula.
Yes. All right. I would like to thank all the attendees as well for taking out time and staying right through the wonderful presentation. Thank you, Mridula, for your help. And last but not the least, thank you, Preeti, for coming out and making this presentation. We all know things, but it's a great reminder that simple common sense, aligned living with our nature is the best way to get towards lasting health and well-being, right? The circadian rhythm and simple things. Eating seasonally. Right now, everything is available year-round. You can find a watermelon in December, but that doesn't mean that's the right time to have it. So back to the basics, common sense, aligning with the nature, eating real, whole, unprocessed foods, etc. So that is what brings about a turnaround in health, and that is a lasting health.
I think one thing that stuck out for me was time and motion. I never thought about time and motion at all. And today my eyes are open. I'm like, oh my God, that's a big one that I'm missing. So thank you.
Yes, those are the 3 main causes of disease listed in Ayurveda, and it's amazing. It's very, very powerful. All right, so I'm also seeing all the comments in the chat box. Thank you for sharing that this has been helpful. And again, we are on YouTube video, so you can rewatch the whole presentation. So with that, thank you. If you have a holistic friend, please tell them about our website, and hopefully they can join. And we want to expand this. Post-COVID, we are picking up again. So thank you so much, everyone. Have a wonderful evening and stay connected.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. ठीक है, Mridula?
Yes.
Chale?
Huh.
Okay. Thank you so much for joining and for introducing Preeti. Thank you.
No problem. Bye.
Bye.